What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin on the show. What's up, Dustin?
What's up? How's everybody?
Good to have you back on. Week 14 recap episode. A lot of good action to talk about. If you haven't yet, check out the Kabir Baja Biamila interview that just dropped last night as well on the same channel. And we'll keep these episodes coming out, more interviews coming up as well. So let's get into this. Thursday night football, the 6-6 Patriots at the 8-4 Rams. The Rams jump out to a 17-0 lead after a Kenny Young 79-yard pick six off of Cam Newton. And the Patriots could never really get the offense going and lose 24-3. A big loss for the Patriots' playoff chances and a statement win for Sean McVay and the Rams and their first rematch with New England since Super Bowl 53. Dustin, how surprised were you that the Patriots were just unable to get the offense going and only managed 3 points against that Rams team?
Yeah, I was surprised because I definitely had chosen them to win this game. And, it's just a struggle. Cam Newton hasn't been himself in years. After I thought he'd have a good season. He's having a decent season, but he's not, the Cam Newton of past.
Yeah.
But let's give more credit to that Rams defense. That Rams defense is legit.
It is. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Leonard Floyd was a good addition. They got playmakers all over that defense, and they're doing a great job of keeping teams down. Now, I agree with Cam Newton. I feel like we bought into the hype because he was going to New England, and we felt like with Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick, they would find a way to get the most out of him. But it's been real hit and miss this year for whatever reason, and a lot of times they haven't been putting up enough points on offense to get wins. So,
yeah, I see it as like it's not the kind of quarterback I think Bill Belichick is used to.
Yeah. So they're having to switch it up and be different than what they're accustomed to, and it's not exactly going that well. I wish they would. Damian Harris is one bright spot to that offense. I wish they'd run it with him even more. But anytime you're asking Cam Newton to drop back and throw it these days, you don't trust it as well as you used to, and it goes back to the shoulder surgeries and all that he's had. So, but a big win for the Rams. They get to 9-4 and have the lead with a tiebreaker over Seattle in the NFC West. So the Rams are definitely going to be a team to watch going into the postseason, and we'll see who wins that division. Now, let's go to Sunday, Texans-Bears. The Bears jump out to a 14-0 lead and blow the Texans out 36-7. First time the Bears have scored 30 first-half points since 2018. And kicker Cairo Santos has made 18 straight field goal attempts. I didn't think I'd see that out of him. He's really killing it. And the Bears end their 6-game losing streak. Dustin, what do you think? Texans are a bad team, but they have an offense. They have Deshaun Watson. They should be able to put up some points. I feel like the Bears' defense played better, and the Bears' offense just took advantage of a bad Texans defense. But I'll take the win.
Yeah, a win is a win in the National Football League, and it's hard to win in general. But I still have to say, the Texans' offense still is lacking the firepower. Remember, Hopkins got traded, and then Will Fuller was suspended for 6 games.
Yeah.
And, now they're trying to use Kiki QT, who is pretty much their only star on offense.
Yeah, and he's like at least a third or fourth option anywhere else. So, yeah, they were definitely depleted. But I'll take it, whatever, just to get off the 6-game losing streak. The offense has looked better, and it's setting up for a really big matchup this coming week against the 6-7 Vikings. Pretty much a playoff game between the Bears and Vikings in Minnesota. I can't wait for that game. Why do you think it is, David Montgomery, the first play of the game, David Montgomery for the Bears on offense goes 80 yards for a touchdown and then only touches the ball, only gets 10 more carries the rest of the game. Why do you think that is, that Nagy, he'll see success out of Montgomery? He had a big run against Green Bay. He was running it well against Detroit. for whatever reason, he goes away from the running game in the second half consistently.
Yeah, I mean, obviously proves that Montgomery is a good back, but I don't really know what goes through his head. That would be more of an answer for you, since you are
Yeah,
a
that's a Bears
Bears
fan.
fan.
I mean, who knows? I mean, it goes back to Kansas City. You know, it is what Nagy does. It's what he's comfortable with. If you give him a lead or a good start to a game and he feels comfortable, it's like he reverts to passing the ball and doesn't want to run the ball and sees running the ball almost as like, uh, unnecessary for his offense. And in the long scheme of stuff, it's definitely necessary. And I think it's what cost us against Detroit 2 weeks ago. And it could have cost us in this game if Houston could do anything offensively. And it's going to be key against Minnesota if we can run the ball or not. So I
Yeah,
hope
I
that,
mean,
yeah,
it shows that you guys play well when you have a quarterback who can run the RPO.
yes. And if you notice, Trubisky has opened up running lanes for David Montgomery. Say what you want about Trubisky and his ability to play the quarterback position. The fact that he can run the ball opens up lanes on that play action stuff and in RPOs and stuff where Montgomery has lanes to run the ball. And people have tried to fight me on that all season, that Trubisky's a bad quarterback and he's the reason the Bears offense sucked. But, I think it's pretty clear now the offense was even worse with Nick Foles. And we ran the ball even less and even less successfully with Nick Foles. So there's got to be something to it. And I feel like Nagy with Trubisky is like he doesn't like see the passing the passing potential with Trubisky or the explosive play. So he doesn't trust Trubisky. So he'd rather run the ball. And it's like a backhanded compliment because by running the ball more and trusting Trubisky less, the team is actually more successful because we play to the strengths of our defense. We run the ball and we give Trubisky less to have to do, less third and longs to have to deal with. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, he should start trusting Trubisky because it's not good to not have trust between a quarterback and a running back.
Yeah.
I mean, a quarterback and a coach.
Yeah, but that goes back to why Trubisky was benched in the first place 2.5 games into the season. Nagy was looking for the first opportunity to bench Trubisky, looking for the first mistake to be like, you know what? So he called it a gut feeling to bench Trubisky and put in Foles. And if you look at where the offense went from week 3 until now, until a couple weeks ago, whatever that gut feeling was that Nagy had, he needs to get rid of because it didn't work out. And it makes me wonder where this Bears team would be had Trubisky never been benched, honestly. But, it is what it is. And now it's like Nagy is relying on Trubisky to save his job because I think if we miss the playoffs, Nagy's gone and Trubisky's gone. If we find a way to make the playoffs, Nagy's probably back and maybe Trubisky's back as well. So who knows? A lot to figure out with this Bears team in the final weeks of the season. And a big-ass game at Minnesota. I can't wait for this. What do you expect, Bears at Vikings? Are you going to watch this game? And a lot on the line for this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be switching back and forth between Indianapolis and Houston and Bears and Minnesota. But I think I'm going to take the Bears. I mean, I don't trust Kirk Cousins, and I think he's going to end up being the downfall to Minnesota.
Well, I'll tell you this. Trubisky has had success against Minnesota. Our defense has had success against Minnesota. We should have beat them the first time, but Foles and that offense was so inept that we couldn't score any points on them. So I'm confident. I believe the Bears can go into Minnesota and get this win, but at the same time, I don't know if I trust this Bears team based on the way we looked at certain times this season. And with the defense giving up 75 points in 2 games against Green Bay and Detroit with the season on the line. So with the season on the line again, a must-win game, I'm very interested to see how we look and how we perform. But I do think the Bears have a decent shot at going in there, getting a road win and keeping our season alive, and pretty much setting up a winner-take, a must-win in Week 17 against Green Bay. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. It's all about finding a way to get a big road win against the Vikings, avoid getting swept by the Vikings, and keep our season alive. So I can't wait for that game.
Yeah, the good part is the NFC is so bad for the lower tier teams that, you could probably finish 8-8 and still get in.
I think 9-7. The Cardinals are the last wild card, and let me look. I believe they're 7-6. Yeah, they're 7-6. I think the Cardinals are going to go 9-7, and so I believe the Bears will have the tiebreaker over the Vikings if they win out and finish 9-7. So that's got to be the goal: win out and get in. I don't think 8-8 gets it done. I think the Cardinals win 2 of their final 3, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe the Cardinals will open up the door for either the Bears or Minnesota to sneak in. You're right. The bottom of the NFC is kind of weak. Let's go to Broncos-Panthers, a battle of 4 and 8 teams. The Broncos jump out to a 25-10 lead and hang on to win 32-27. We've had a lot of talk about Drew Lock, the Broncos quarterback of the future, and analyzing his game this year. He throws a career-high 4 touchdown passes in this one, and they get the win. What's your thoughts on Drew Lock from the little bit that you've seen him so far?
Yeah, I know he started off a little rocky this season, but when he was drafted, I've always said, I think he could be the man in Denver, and I still believe that. So I liked his game on Sunday. I thought it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, he played pretty well. As long as his biggest thing is cutting down on the turnovers. If he can find a way to do that, which I think turnovers are always going to be a little bit a part of his game, but if he can cut down on them enough and still be throwing touchdown passes, he has a future in this league. But he's got some developing more to do and some, maturing in this league still left to do.
Yeah, but I mean, big name, going to be Hall of Fame quarterbacks have had interception issues before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Manning's had seasons where he's thrown, 2 games of 4 interceptions. I've seen it personally.
Yeah.
And then Phillip Rivers, throws picks, and Matthew Stafford. So it'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm not sold on Drew Lock, but I like what I've seen potential-wise. And so we all knew this was going to be like most people, some Bronco fans are hoping for the playoffs, but I think most of us saw this as a retooling, rebuilding year for the Broncos and the offense, developing chemistry between Locke and Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton and these guys. So we'll see, but I think the future, there is, some brightness in the future for Denver. So we'll see if Locke can continue to develop and get better and better. Let's go to Cowboys-Bengals. The Bengals were sloppy in the first half with 3 turnovers, giving Dallas a 17-0 lead. The Cowboys run away with this one, winning 30-7. But even after the win, the Cowboys still sit in last place in the NFC East. Do you think the Cowboys have any shot, or is this a lost season for Dallas? I mean, it makes sense. You lose Dak Prescott, and the season's pretty much gone.
Yeah, I mean, this season's over for Dallas. And, I mean, I'm not even sure if they had Dak, if they would still even be competitive, because that defense is just awful, man.
Well, Dak was on pace to throw for 6,000 yards, so he was doing his best to keep them in it. But, yeah, the defense was always an issue.
Yeah, they would have been in shootouts every week.
Yeah. But one nice part of the defense came in this game as defensive end Aldon Smith scores his first career touchdown on a 78-yard fumble recovery and return. What a great comeback story for Aldon Smith.
Yeah, it was nice to see him back in the league.
Yeah, he was gone for so many years. It was surprising that he made it back, but he's helping Dallas. He's bringing some impact. Let's go to Titans at Jags in your division. Titans jump out to a 31-3 lead and blow the Jags out 31-10. AJ Brown wears a Julio Jones jersey pregame and looks just like him with a spectacular one-handed touchdown catch. You see that catch by AJ Brown?
I did not have a chance to see that catch, but I'm gonna definitely check it out.
What do you think about the homage to Julio Jones? I think AJ Brown kind of looks like him when he plays.
Yeah, I mean he's big, strong, got hands, and can definitely yak yardage, and that's what Julio Jones is known for.
Yep. The Jags bench quarterback Mike Glennon in the third quarter to go back to Gardner Minshew. Minshew will start going forward. Minshew is the better quarterback of the two. You agree, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why Glennon was even starting. Was Minshew hurt for a while?
Uh,
I think he was. But
yeah, because Jake Luton was
yeah,
playing.
yeah, Jake Luton. But as long as Minshew's healthy, he's got to be starting over Mike Glennon.
And Luton was even better than Glennon.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why Glennon. To be honest, I'm surprised Glennon still has a job. He should be like a coach at this point. Titans improved. Titans improved to 9-4, and have the AFC South lead with a tiebreaker against Indy. How do you think the season's gonna end out? With the Titans and Colts battling for the number one spot.
Well, of course, we're gonna end up getting the AFC South. I mean,
Have you looked at the schedules? Is it favorable for Indy?
I mean, we both have one big game that's like a must win, and it's actually in the same weekend. Indy plays Pittsburgh, and Tennessee is going to play Green Bay. So it's
nice.
going to be whoever wins that game is going to win the division.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to seeing, a big thing for Titans Packers is going to be, can the Packers run D contain Derrick Henry? Not many defenses in football have been able to contain him. In my opinion, he should be getting MVP votes. Do you agree?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we live in an era where it's all about the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But I mean, man, Derrick Henry is doing something my eyes have never seen. I mean, that man's 4 games over 200 yards?
Yep, 200 yards, 4 games with 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that is the most in NFL history, surpassing Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, and LaDainian Tomlinson.
Man, those 3 names are just, iconic. And it's crazy how he's not getting no MVP votes.
Yeah, he should be. And the last non-quarterback to win the MVP award was Adrian Peterson back in 2012. So I say it's about time, but it's going to go to Rodgers or Mahomes.
I hope it goes to Rodgers. I mean, his age and doing what he's doing is incredible.
Yeah, and it's what some people kind of predicted. They're like, the Packers go and draft his replacement, and it seems to have provided a spark. And Rodgers is like, you know what, I'm going to go win MVP this year.
I mean, yeah, and I wish that they would actually, give the award for what it's for, most valuable player. Because if you were to take Derrick Henry off Tennessee, I think they're a 9-7, 8-8 football team.
Yeah, they're not a playoff team, that's for sure. I agree. They might even be worse, 7-9, 6-10. You never know. But if we're going to take that route, I mean, Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay doesn't get more valuable than that.
That's true.
So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'm sure it's going to go to a quarterback, like you said. That's all they like to go for. Let's go to Chiefs-Dolphins, a good game in Miami. Patrick Mahomes started out uncharacteristically sloppy, throwing 2 interceptions, fumbling a snap, and taking a 30-yard sack from Dolphins linebacker Jerome Baker on his first 3 possessions. So the Dolphins jump out to a 10-0 lead, but then the Chiefs rattle off 30 straight points. Like, it's hard to keep that Mahomes red hot Chiefs offense off the board for long. Um, then Dolphins star corner Xavier Howard makes an amazing one-handed interception off of Mahomes. Howard's fifth straight game with an interception and leads the NFL with 9. What do you think? Did you see the start of this game? Mahomes sloppy, throwing picks, taking a big sack. That was weird to see.
It was it was a weird game, and I mean, Mahomes made a joke about he did that when they played the Super Bowl there. He kind of threw a couple picks, and he said Miami's not his place that he likes to play. So
yeah, but the funny thing is, he ended up winning both those games with killing it later in the game. So it just goes to show it's so hard to keep Mahomes and that offense down for long. They can have a rough start and bounce back and still put up 30 plus on you. Xavier Howard, man, I think he's the best corner in football. 5 straight games with a pick, 9 interceptions on the year, and a really amazing one-handed pick in this one.
Yeah, he has to be, no doubt about it, the best player on the Dolphins.
Yeah. That's only Patrick Mahomes' second career game throwing 3 interceptions. The other game came in that Monday Night Football shootout loss to the Rams in 2018, where the Dolphins rally late to pull within 33-27, but cannot recover the onside kick, and the Chiefs get the win. With the Steelers' loss to Buffalo on Sunday night, the Chiefs now have taken over the AFC's number 1 seed and looking for a first-round bye. If the Chiefs have home field and a first-round bye, they're going to be tough to beat in the playoffs.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they're going to end up wrapping up that number 1 seed, and thank goodness, you can't fill Arrowhead Stadium to the max because nobody can win in that stadium. It's so damn loud.
Yeah. Now, the Dolphins fall to 8-5 and are currently battling with the Ravens for the final wild card spot in the AFC. There's pretty much a 3-way battle for the final wild card spot. Dolphins, Ravens, or Raiders? Who are you picking?
I'm going with Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree. Miami and Baltimore is going to be the tough task. I don't trust the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, their history shows. But, I mean, Lamar, he's been playing pretty well since he got back from, having COVID. And
yep. He's definitely a difference maker, and he's a big play threat whenever he steps on the field. The Chiefs clinched the AFC West title, their 5th straight division championship. It's going to be about time for another team in the AFC West to step up, but I don't know how soon that's going to be. Seems to be their division to lose.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of that already, but
well, the thing is, there's a couple of those with Alex Smith. Now you got the Mahomes era, and he seems to have a pretty good grip on it.
Yeah, it's going to be their division for a long time, and until Herbert gets better. And
that's what I was going to say. Maybe Justin Herbert with an offensive head coach and a lot of weapons, maybe the Chargers. But let's go to Cardinals-Giants. The Cardinals jump out to a 20-0 lead. Giants unable to get anything going offensively. And the Cardinals win 26-7. Daniel Jones started and played, but you could tell he kind of wasn't himself, wasn't nearly as mobile, and may have re-injured or injured himself again, missing practice this week. The Giants, after sitting pretty in the NFC East at one point, like they might win the division, now they're starting to fall off, and Washington seems to have a good grip on it.
Yeah, and I think Washington ends up winning it just because, the Giants got a little bit more hype after winning 4 in a row than, people were on their bandwagon. But it's kind of weird. Daniel Jones comes back and the Giants lose. They were 2-0 under Colt McCoy.
Yeah. Yep. It'll be interesting to see how that finishes out the rest of the year. But if the Giants can gain ground on Washington, the only good news is they have the tiebreaker with Washington by sweeping them. So they can, they're only one game back. If they can start getting it going here in the rest of the way out, maybe they can tie it up. But we'll
Yeah, but they
see.
have Cleveland next, so I don't see that being a win.
That's a tough game for them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one though, and that's a good test for Cleveland though too, because Joe Judge and the Giants, I forget their defensive coordinator's name, but they're playing pretty good football defensively right now.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that one. Cardinals linebacker Hassan Reddick records a franchise record 5 sacks in the game, along with 3 forced fumbles. What a game!
Yeah, I have to agree.
It's nuts. So yeah, Giants fall to 5-8, and they'll host the Browns on Sunday Night Football. So a big game, Giants Browns on Sunday Night Football next week. Let's go to Vikings Bucks, where the Bucks jump out to a 23-6 lead and hang on to win 26-14. A big win for Tampa Bay, currently sitting in the second wild card spot. Major blow to the Vikings' playoff aspirations. This loss. They're now tied with Chicago, 1 game out of the playoffs, and a big matchup Week 15 against the Bears, who have kind of had their number of recent. I know they beat them earlier this year, but I think the Bears could go get that one. And the biggest issue in Minnesota right now is kicker Dan Bailey is really struggling. He missed all of his attempts against Tampa Bay, going 0 for 3 on field goals and 0 for 1 on extra points. And he's missed 3 extra points and 4 field goal attempts in the last 2 weeks. It's a terrible situation to be in if you don't trust your kicker. As a Bears fan, I know that feeling well in 2018, 2019. Do you think kicker could come back to cost Minnesota?
Oh yeah. I mean, let's say it's very uncharacteristic of Dan Bailey. First
It
of all,
is.
to miss that many kicks, and eventually that'll get you thrown off a team. I mean, we've seen where kickers cost teams games, and they've been fired immediately. But you have to have a kicker if you plan on going to the playoffs.
I get the feeling this Bears game could be that. Like they're holding on to him one more week. They weren't sure about if he was going to be their kicker, but I think he will be against Chicago. But if he misses a big potential game-winning kick against Chicago, I think he's out the door.
Yeah, and it was good weather too, so there's no excuse on why he missed those.
No, I think it's just a lack of confidence. But like you said, late in the year, missing big important kicks like that can get you fired on the spot. So we'll see. Let's go to your team, the Colts against the Raiders. The Colts take a 44-20 lead and hold off the Raiders 44-27. They keep pace with the Titans in the battle for the first place in the division. How about Kenny Moore making that unreal one-handed interception in the end zone?
Oh yeah, man, that was beautiful. Cause I had thought they were gonna hit Nelson Aguilar again in the corner of the end zone, but lo and behold, Mr. Moore came up with a great, beautiful defensive interception, and it was great, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. One of the
That
plays of the
actually
year.
turned the game around.
Yeah, a play like that can give you a spark and give the whole team a spark, and it seemed to do that. One of the bright spots I thought is rookie running back Jonathan Taylor going for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 62-yard touchdown run. You're going to need him come, down the stretch run here.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to show up and being the Jonathan Taylor that we hoped we get when we drafted him. And that offensive line just, is playing great. And eventually we're going to wear teams down.
Yep. Run the ball and play defense. I swear it still works late in the year. The Raiders suffer a tough home loss that puts them 1 game out of the final wild card spot. They'll need to finish strong just to make the postseason. And Vegas will host the Chargers on Thursday Night Football tomorrow night, but they will be without 4 defensive starters for that game. So the Raiders have their backs up against it. We'll see if they can beat the Chargers, but a big game for Vegas tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's a sneaky game.
Yeah. You never know. Justin Herbert might show up. The Chargers might play well. So Raiders better be on their toes for that one. But yeah, like I was telling you, you asked me a couple weeks ago, like how far this Colts team can go. And if they play strong defense and run the ball, there's no telling. They could go, as long as you're in games in December and January, you never know. How do you feel about what do you think, honestly, how far do you think this Colts team can go?
I think we would be able to run through everybody else except for Kansas City. I mean, we'd probably having to end up going to Kansas City for the AFC Championship game if we were to get there. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Phillip is playing hot right now, and if he can keep playing hot, and just being a game manager, that's all
Yep.
we ask is get first downs and let Taylor, get Taylor the ball at the 5 and let him run it in. That's all we
Yep.
need right now.
And you guys will have a big game against the Steelers because that's one of those teams in the AFC, one of the top teams that you might have to meet in the playoffs. So if you beat them in the regular season, that could give you confidence if you meet them in the postseason.
Yeah, and I mean the Steelers. It kind of proves that their easy schedule is finally getting to them when they play teams above 500.
Yeah, and I'll have more to say on that Steelers team coming up, but they're showing some weaknesses. Let's go to the Jets and Seahawks. Winless Jets jump out to a 3-0 lead, and then the Seahawks score 40 straight points on them to win a blowout, 40-3. Seahawks improved to 9-4 and are tied for the best record in the NFC West. The Jets add another loss to the tank as they pursue the number 1 overall pick. A big game for Seattle, a sneaky big game for Seattle in Week 15 at Washington. Washington playing much better of late, and the Seahawks coming to town. That should be a really good game.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, when it comes down to the playoff seeding.
Yeah. Let's go to Falcons Chargers. The Chargers win on a game-winning 43-yard field goal by kicker Michael Batchley and improved to 4-9. Neither of these teams are going to make the playoffs. Both head coaches coaching for their jobs. I don't think the Chargers are bringing back Anthony Lynn after this season. I think they're going to go get a quarterback guru and offensive-minded head coach to try and get the most out of Justin Herbert. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, how many of those are left, though?
They'll find somebody. I don't know. Even like Pep Hamilton, who's on that staff now, could be a good guy for Justin Herbert.
Lincoln Riley, maybe?
Huh?
Lincoln Riley?
Lincoln Riley? Who knows? I mean, you got to admit, I think the Chargers is an attractive job for an offensive head coach.
Oh, yeah, especially being in L.A.
Yeah. So we'll see who gets that job, but it's going to be, I think, a highly sought-after one. And then for Atlanta, Raheem Morris is trying to go from interim to get the actual head coaching job or at least get a defensive coordinator job somewhere else. So we'll see.
Put the word out. There's a defensive coordinator job opening in South Bend right now. So
there you go. Let's go Packers-Lions. The Packers jump out to a 28-14 lead, hang on to win 31-24. Kicker Mason Crosby delivers a clutch 58-yard field goal to put the Packers up 10 late, and that kick ties his career long. How about Mason Crosby still doing it, still coming through with a career long in the clutch, a big-ass kick in that game.
Yeah, reminds me a little bit of Adam Vinatieri.
Yep.
His old, Crosby, but Crosby's been clutch most of his career, and I think, he's a great kicker.
Yep. The Packers improved to 10-3, and with the Saints losing on Sunday, the Packers now own the NFC's number 1 seed with a tiebreaker win over the Saints in Week 3. So the NFC could go through Lambeau. That'd be pretty crazy.
Yeah, which, I mean, I know there's not fans, but the most important thing is you do not want to go to Lambeau when it's 13 degrees.
Exactly. I mean,
and
fans or not, that's a home field advantage.
Yeah, a lot of those teams, too, from the South, like Tampa, New
Yep.
Orleans, or those teams that plays in domes, you do
Yep.
not want to have to go to Lambeau.
Absolutely. Um, and then, I mean, how about Aaron Rodgers this year? We questioned him all off season. We said, is he going to be pissed off? Does he even want to be in Green Bay anymore with the Jordan Love draft pick? But it seems to have done the opposite. Fired him up, has him on pace for potentially winning the MVP award. And who knows? We'll see how far he can lead these Packers this season.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say he's still pissed off because he's trying to show the Packers organization, hey, I'm the
You want
heart
to
and
replace
soul,
Riz?
and you need me.
Yeah, exactly. Um, the Lions, Matthew Stafford got hurt in this game and was replaced by Chase Daniel late. The Lions are, quote, not overly optimistic that Stafford will play in Week 15 at the Titans, which I agree with. They're 5-8 now. Why play Stafford at all the rest of this year? Their season's over. I'd be putting in the backups.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Stafford play because, again, it's against Tennessee, and I would
Yeah,
hold out hope that maybe the Lions could play one of those sneaky Detroit games and pull out the victory. But
but it's common sense. If he's hurt a little bit, man, don't risk it in meaningless football.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. Will
So we'll
he
see.
even be in Detroit next season, though?
Yeah, that's another thing. Who knows? Um, I tend to think he will be, but you never know with the complete regime change there. And who I heard they're bringing in the Lions. They hired Chris Spielman this week. He's like advisor in their coaching hire and stuff. And then they're bringing in Lewis Riddick for an interview about the GM job.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good interview right there.
Yeah, and so if they hire Lewis Riddick or whoever they hire at GM, it's going to be really up to them to say, who they want. Do they want Stafford to stay? Do they want a complete rebuild? You know, so a lot up in the air for Detroit as well. Let's go to Saints Eagles. As rookie quarterback Jalen Hurts makes his first career start, Carson Wentz got benched in Week 13 after the loss to Green Bay, and they decided to go with Hurts for the remainder of the season. The Eagles jump out to a 17-0 lead, and the Eagles hang on to win 24-21, ending the Saints' 9-game winning streak. A big win for Philly, who, Doug Peterson was quoted as saying he was looking for a spark. I think it's safe to say Jalen Hurts provided him with a spark.
Yeah, Jalen played great, and that team was actually looking pretty good for once, and moving the football and everything. But in the long run, I feel bad for Carson Wentz. Whatever he's going through mentally, I hope he gets over it because he was a damn good quarterback before he tore his ACL.
Mm-hmm. Now, is that an indictment on Wentz, though, that Hurts can come in and the team automatically starts playing better? Oh, is that just Hurts' ability to threaten the defense with being able to run the ball more, being more athletic, or is that an indictment on Wentz that he just wasn't playing very good football?
Yeah, I see it as Wentz has lost confidence in himself, and
Yeah,
he needs to get it back. But I
and
don't see him being in Philly very much longer.
no one has ever said it's easy to play quarterback in Philly. Those fans are fickle. If you for whatever reason aren't playing well, they're going to let you know.
Oh yeah, man, them fans will torch you.
Yep. I can't wait for this game, Week 15. The Eagles play the Cardinals, and the Eagles are in a position where they need to win out to have a chance to win the NFC East with Washington catching fire. So with Jalen Hurts providing that spark, a big matchup on Sunday, Jalen Hurts against Kyler Murray, and it's a big game for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes and beats the Cardinals, I think people are gonna start taking a serious look at Jalen Hurts being, Eagles fans wanting him to be a starter next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the Saints, they see their 9-game winning streak come to an end, and they are hosting the Kansas City Chiefs next week, which some would call a potential Super Bowl preview. So there's a chance the Saints could get Drew Brees back next week. Either way, that's going to be another great game to watch. Chiefs at Saints next weekend.
Okay, but I mean, would you keep Hill in at quarterback, or would you finally just use him as, what he's used to and bring in Winston finally?
Well, if healthy, I'm bringing back Drew Brees. I think Taysom Hill has shown us some potential, but also who he is. And I don't think, I think Drew Brees is an upgrade. And if you're going to beat a team like Kansas City, you have to have Drew Brees. I don't think Taysom Hill can get it done. I don't think Jameis Winston can get it done. The only way you're going to beat the Chiefs is with Drew Brees. So if he's healthy, I think you got to throw him in there.
Oh, man, that is risky, though.
It is. But I was checking out, there's a Saints analyst or Saints guy that covers the Saints on Twitter that I'm friends with or follow. And he was saying, he's like, it doesn't matter when we put Drew Brees back there. We're all going to be holding our breath, whether it's the first round of the playoffs, whether it's next week, one hit and you're going to be like, oh, shit. So either way, it's risky.
Yeah, because, I mean, he suffers some pretty good broken ribs there and a collapsed lung, so.
That was one of the nastiest injuries I've heard of. I mean, so many broken ribs and then a collapsed lung. And at that age, that's got to wear on you.
Yeah, but he's also Drew Brees, too, so,
Yep, Superman.
He's great for a reason.
Yep. Washington at the 49ers. Washington jumps out to a 23-7 lead after rookie safety Cameron Curl takes his first career interception back for a touchdown, 76 yards. Alex Smith would leave the game with calf tightness and would be replaced by Dwayne Haskins. Washington gets a big 23-15 win over the Niners, improves to 6-7, and they have a one-game lead over the Giants in the NFC East. They need to keep their foot on the gas, though, because like I mentioned earlier, the Giants have the tiebreaker if they have the same record. Do you think Washington comes out of the NFC East and wins that division?
Oh, man, again, I say this every week. That division's hard to choose, but.
Yeah. It's starting to look like Washington, though.
Yeah, right now Washington's playing better out of all the teams in the East. So I'm going to go with Washington, but I'll tell you, Sunday was very scary seeing Alex Smith go down, with his leg. That was scary.
Yeah, but the good news is, calf tightness or a calf strain, so not that big of a deal. And Washington is, quote, optimistic that Alex Smith can play next week in their home game against the Seahawks. They're going to need him against Seattle. So,
yeah, and I mean, Seattle has their suspect. So
yeah, so it's a winnable game, but it's also a big game because you lose that, and it opens the door for some of these other NFC teams like Philly or the Giants to catch up to them.
Yeah.
And then rookie defensive end Chase Young scores his first career NFL touchdown on a 47-yard fumble return for a touchdown. I know he's a Buckeye, but you got to appreciate that talent.
Yeah, he's going to be good in the future. He's what, people wanted Jadeveon Clowney to be.
Yep. You saw that tweet too, didn't you? What was that, Ryan Clark that tweeted that?
Yeah.
But it's true.
Sorry, man.
No, it's facts. So let's go to the prime time. What were you gonna say?
I said, yeah. I mean, but I think he's gonna have a better career, and he's just already a monster.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's better fit, and so far I've seen nothing to hate on him. He's a beast. And he deserved to go as high as he did in the draft. Let's go Steelers at Bills on Sunday Night Football. The Bills jump out to a 23-7 lead and hang on to win 26-15. The Bills increase their lead in the AFC East to 2 games, so they're sitting pretty, looking to win the division. I believe, when's the last time the Bills won that division? That was like 1999.
I thought it was 95.
Yeah, I think you're right, 1995. So this could, a big year for Bills fans. Guaranteed Bills fans wish they were could go to the games and be witnessing it all, but they seem to have a bright future. Josh Allen and that Bills team is playing some good football.
And honestly, this is just my opinion, but I think they're the most dangerous team in the
Potentially.
AFC.
Yeah. Bills, dangerous against Kansas City. Titans are a dangerous team. Colts could be dangerous. So, but yeah, Bills. Josh Allen has the ability to put a team on his back, so we'll be paying close attention to Buffalo.
Man, we're going to be in for a hell of a playoff this year.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm so glad we got here. There was a lot of doubters along the way that said we were never going to get here, but we're close.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the Steelers. After starting 11-0, they've now lost 2 straight. And are 11-2. They lose the number 1 seed in the AFC. Now belongs to Kansas City. So now, if the Steelers and Chiefs meet, it'll be in Arrowhead. But more importantly, is this 2-game losing streak where, in my opinion, the Steelers' offense is too predictable, too one-sided, too pass-happy. They can't really get the running game established. And their last 4 games, you're seeing it. The offense is averaging less than 20 points per game. What's wrong with the Steelers from what you've seen?
I think it was, they thought that they could fool people. I mean, they played a lot of the teams under 500, and of course, they're going to dominate. And had Lamar Jackson have been in that game against the Ravens, they would be 0-3 in the last 3 games.
Yeah, they could be. Yeah. So we'll see. The Steelers need to get that figured out soon because 2-game losing streak. I think it's going to end this weekend, but you want to be peaking at this time of year, not flattening out.
And teams are finally getting that pass rush and finding a way to get to Big Ben, and Big Ben's not the greatest when he has somebody in his face.
Yeah, well, like any quarterback, you get pressure on him and you can mess with him.
And that's how I think.
And
that's how I think Indy can ultimately beat them.
Yep. The Steelers play at the Bengals on Monday night. That's an automatic win, so they'll get to 12-2. But then versus the Colts and at Cleveland to end the season, back-to-back 2 tough games that they're going to have to prove a lot going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, they end with 2 teams above 500, and that Cleveland game and Indianapolis game, even between those 2, could decide, major seeding in the playoffs.
Absolutely. So let's go to Monday night now, and the game of the year so far. The Ravens jump out to a 34-20 lead, but Lamar Jackson is forced to leave the game due to cramping, also known as it looked like he had to poop. With Lamar Jackson out, the Browns rallied back into the lead with a 35-34 lead late. Lamar Jackson comes out. This is like superhero stuff, though, because when Lamar Jackson comes out, it's 4th and 5 with less than 2 minutes left in the game. It's like do or die on that play. And he comes running out of the tunnel, comes onto the field, 4th and 5, and what does he do? He doesn't just get the first down. He throws a 44-yard touchdown pass to Hollywood Brown. And then with the 2-point conversion, the Ravens are up 7 just like that. That was crazy.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that movie Game Plan where The Rock had went out and then ended up coming back and ultimately leading his team for the win.
That's awesome.
But
a lot of people were referencing Paul Pierce.
Yeah, I was about to say Lamar promised he didn't pull a Paul Pierce, so we'll never know.
Yep. The Browns showed resiliency, though, even after getting down 7 in that spot. Baker Mayfield leads Cleveland back down the field. Throws a 22-yard touchdown pass to Kareem Hunt. They tie the game at 42-all. And with 1 minute to go, Lamar Jackson leads the Ravens down into field goal range. and the always clutch, always reliable Justin Tucker comes through with a 55-yard field goal to win the game. Unreal. Game of the year, and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that game was fantastic, and it shows what we can expect in the future between Baker and Lamar, and I think it's going to be great.
Yep. Now, I've got a little bit to say about this. Credit to Baker Mayfield and the Browns for keeping it competitive and nearly winning the game. They showed a lot. But let me say this. They still have to show me more for me to pick them in January, and this is why. I was talking a lot of shit last week saying Ravens are going to win by double digits, even 20 points or whatever. But what I have to say on that is if Lamar Jackson didn't have to leave the game due to cramping, I think they do win this game by double digits. Part of the reason that Cleveland was able to get back into this was that who's the backup? Who's that guy from Penn State?
Trace McSorley from Penn State.
Yeah, Trace McSorley, when he came in, the Ravens offense could do nothing. And so that allowed a couple possessions for Cleveland to catch up and get back into the game because when Lamar went out, it was a 14-point game. And then when he comes back in, they're down 1. So I think what allowed Cleveland to get back in was Trace McSorley and the Ravens, not having Lamar. When Lamar comes back in, he does superhero shit to get them to win. But, there was a moment or two in that game where the Browns were down double digits and it, it could have gone the other way.
But, things like that in football happen, and you have to give the Browns credit for fighting.
Yeah, that is true. They showed a lot of fight.
You don't ever see that in a Cleveland team, and Stefanski is changing the culture in Cleveland.
He is, absolutely. My questions come to, mostly go to Baker Mayfield. That's where they go. And he showed a lot. He showed a lot of fight. He kept the Browns in this game. He did what he had to tie it up late. But my question is this, is that, the Browns are at home here. And I think a lot of Browns fans are upset that they didn't win this game because they were right there and had an opportunity to win it. I think the Browns are getting a lot of praise for a loss that arguably I think they should have won with Lamar Jackson missing as much time as he did. They showed fight. It wasn't a blowout, like the first time they met the Ravens. So they played well, but I still have my questions because – I don't think that they're not a contender yet, and they've still got a ways to go. I like what Kevin Stefanski is doing. I like that they're playing through Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and Baker looked good in that game, but I've seen too many inconsistencies from Baker and even the Browns defense. I mean, we can talk about how much fight the Browns offense had, but the Browns defense had multiple opportunities to stop the Ravens from, scoring the first time or getting into field goal range late, and they couldn't stop. They couldn't make a key stop. What do you think there about the Browns defense?
Yeah, that's the problem in Cleveland, and I think that's going to be their ultimate downfall.
Yeah.
Is defense, because, you had maybe 40-some seconds left, and Baltimore got the ball back, and Lamar made it look easy.
He did. And he made it look easy when he came back on, when they were down 1, too. And so, yeah, we do need to see more out of the Browns defense, but, they're showing signs of improvement, so it is encouraging, and we'll see how they finish out. What I want to see now, great job here of showing fight. Great job. Who they beat last week? That was a big win for them. The Titans. The Titans.
Yeah. I would also say, we should probably look at the positive for Cleveland since they've been so bad, because there's a lot of positive things to take away from this season for the Browns.
Absolutely. And they want something to believe in. And so it is. 9 wins on the year. That's great. But in my opinion, I've seen the Browns get to 9 or 10 wins, and what they do is they get to the playoffs and they're one and done. So I'm hoping that they have a little bit more. They can find a way to win a playoff game. I know they've got, their years to develop still, but
Lamar did the same thing though.
yeah, and that's the thing is like with Lamar, I see him as a great regular season quarterback, but he's still got to prove it to me in the playoffs. So I've got a very high bar for playoff winning franchises, and quarterbacks. And Lamar and Baker both have a lot to show me. But the Browns, another big game this weekend, on prime time with the country watching on Sunday Night Football. They're going to be at MetLife, at the Giants, um, and a good defense in New York. And the offense is a little suspect, but we know the defense is going to be good. So Baker and this Browns team need to prove it to us again. Go into New York, get a big win on prime time in front of the country, and show us, keep stacking wins. Overcome this tough loss here on Monday night. Don't let this loss be your downfall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean, because if they go in and lose that game, it's not going to look good for the momentum for the playoffs.
Yeah. You lose that game, it opens the door for other teams. It opens the door for Baltimore to maybe sneak past the Browns for the second spot, and if the Browns go 9-7 or 10-6, that AFC is really competitive. So who knows? But a big game nonetheless, a big game at the Giants, and I'm looking forward to it. I know. I mean, right now you're going to pick the Browns to win that, right?
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Browns to win because, man, Daniel Jones just keeps disappointing me every time he touches the ball.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe Colt McCoy starts that game. I mean, I know Daniel Jones missed practice. We'll see.
They seem to win with Colt McCoy. I know it's weird to say, but
yeah. So I got question marks about both these teams, the Browns and the Giants. So Sunday Night Football is going to be a lot of fun. I don't expect a blowout win from either side. So I think it'll be a good game, and I'm looking forward to that. And like we mentioned, if the Giants are as bad on offense as we think they are, this is a big prove-it game for the Browns defense to not allow a lot of points and kind of shut this Giants team up. If they hold them to like single digits or something, then and win convincingly, then I'm going to come on the podcast and be like, all right, I like what I'm seeing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, I see it 50-50 as it's almost like you have to win this game and make a statement because, the Giants, yeah, they have a good defense, but their offense is just terrible.
Yeah. I don't even need it to be a statement. I just need a win. If you're a Browns fan, enough of the moral victories like you got on Monday night. Who cares? A moral victory doesn't do anything for you. Yeah, it was exciting to see. Yeah, it's promise for the future. But against this Giants team, just win, baby. Just find a way to win. Get to 10 wins, and then you're solidifying yourself as, chances are pretty high you're going to at least get a playoff game. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
So I can't wait. It's going to be another great week of football. Week 14 was a blast. And so we're getting to the part of the season where every game is so meaningful and so much fun.
Yeah, everything is starting to count, and it's wins or losses are the most important thing right now.
Yep. So let's do some predictions here. Bears, Vikings, Bears at Vikings. I'm taking the Bears. I know it's, who knows with Chicago? Will the defense show up? Will Trubisky show up? Will they implode and the season be over in front of our eyes? What are you thinking? Didn't you say you were going to go Bears?
Yep, I'm going Bears. I feel like that win, is going to give them a little bit of confidence. And like I said, dude, I do not trust Kirk Cousins for some reason.
And so ideally as a Bears fan, if we ended the losing streak on Sunday, if we can find a way to win this game against Minnesota, we'll be on a 2-game winning streak. Then we play the Jags, who aren't even competing really. If we win that, we could be on a 3-game winning streak, going into Week 17 against the Packers with a chance to make the playoffs. So a lot could change in a couple of weeks for Bears fans.
Yeah, I would say you almost have to win those.
Oh, no doubt in my mind. If we lose another game this year, we're not making the playoffs. I know that there's another wild card and it opens it up a little bit, but 8-8 is not getting you into the playoffs unless you're in a bad division and you win the division at 8-8. You're not getting in at 8-8 as a wild card, in my opinion.
Would you be happy with Nagy and go back on everything you said if you make the playoffs?
I'm not gonna be I'm never gonna be happy with Nagy just because I see too many issues, too many game management, play calling issues. It's gonna take a lot for me to get back on Nagy's side.
Does the
But
playoff save his job?
it will save his job. If we make Bears management doesn't like to make Bears ownership doesn't like to fire people. So if if this team gives them an opportunity to be like, well, look at what they're doing now, they're not going to fire him. If we make the playoffs, they're not going to fire Nagy. And it won't surprise me. Honestly, it's not going to surprise me if Trubisky continues to play better and decent the way he has recently. It won't surprise me one bit if the Bears bring back Trubisky on a one-year deal.
Yeah, and I only said that because there's a man who coached for the Illinois Fighting Illini who just got fired. And
oh, man.
Very familiar with Chicago.
I would love Lovie Smith back, but I think the chances are extremely low of that. It wouldn't shock me if the Bears finished the year 7-9 and they still bring Nagy back. Honestly, that's the type of ownership we're dealing with, and the same goes with Pace. So the GM. So it's ideally, I would love to have both Pace and Nagy gone, but realistically, I don't think it'll happen. I think we're going to win just enough, and it would be typical Bears heartbreak, typical Bears football to win out, going into Green Bay and then lose that game against the Packers and have them tear our hearts out.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's going to come down to the end, and Bears fans are going to, want to win that football game because I know how cocky you guys will get if you make the playoffs, no offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And if, let's say we're 8-7, we win out and go into Green Bay on a 3-game losing streak, and we lose that game, you're going to hear me on the podcast saying, fire Nagy, fire Pace. So we're fickle fans, but you gotta win the big games. You gotta beat Green Bay. You gotta beat Minnesota.
So, are they going by the next top seed plays the lowest seed?
So the 1 seed gets the bye, and then it's like 2-7, 3-6, 5-4.
Ooh wee.
So it's gonna be a lot of fun this year. So much good football still left to go. Now your Colts. Who do your Colts play again this week?
Houston.
Okay. That's a very winnable game. You guys expect to win that, get to 10-4.
And then we go, against Pittsburgh after that.
And then, so let's look here. Titans play the Lions. That's a winnable game. So you guys are looking to, just win and get on to the next week, and then it'll be the important game. So looking forward to it. Go ahead.
Do you think maybe Rivers could finally take us over, or could finally get over that slump and win himself a championship ring?
Well, I see it like this. The Colts can beat anybody. The Colts can beat the Steelers. They can beat the Ravens. They can beat the Titans. I have no issue saying that. But can the Colts, can Phillip Rivers, can they put up enough to beat the Chiefs? That's the biggest question. And I have my doubts there. And how do you beat Patrick Mahomes? Next level effing defense and running the ball to play ball control and keep his ass on the sidelines. That's the only way you're going to beat the Chiefs. If Mahomes is on the field, most likely than not, you're going to lose. So
statistically, I think if I'm not mistaken, Frank Reich I think he's beaten Kansas City.
Okay, I believe that, but what, as far as Colts head coach or just in his career?
Colts head coach last year when we played on Sunday Night Football. I think it was like 14-19 or some close game, but we ended up taking it.
Well, I remember. Let's go back 2 years though. Remember when Andrew Luck and the Colts were playing at home? Or no, that was in Arrowhead, right?
Yeah.
And it was in the snow. And I picked the Colts because Andrew Luck, to me, was a quarterback that could win those games in bad conditions and go into Arrowhead and get that win. And they weren't able to do it. And so I don't know, but I see the Chiefs as your biggest hurdle, for any team in the AFC. The Chiefs are the biggest hurdle.
They are definitely beatable, though.
They're beatable, but you got to play almost a perfect game. You need to take the ball away, and you don't even have to take the ball away, but ideally, but you got to play great defense and keep them off the scoreboard, keep them out of the end zone. And Mahomes and the Chiefs are so good at the big explosive play. If you take away the big explosive play, maybe, but they're tough to beat, man.
It's crazy when the star quarterback can throw 3 interceptions and you still win.
Yeah. This Chiefs team is as tough to beat, on par with the Belichick-Brady Patriots, in my opinion, especially in January. It's like they raise their game. They play better. And, the shit that I saw last year against the Texans after they were down big and come back to win it, and then against the Titans, where the Titans are built to beat the Chiefs with Derrick Henry and stuff and Ryan Tannehill, but they still beat them. And that 49ers pass rush, and even going back 2 years to the AFC Championship game, where Mahomes nearly outdueled Tom Brady and won that game. So he's just tough to beat, man.
Yeah, the Chiefs would have won that game if somebody wouldn't have been offsides.
Yeah, honestly, and it took a lot to win that game, but we'll see. I want the Chiefs to go down too, but I can't pick. I can't say anyone's going to go in there and kick their ass, and they're going to be tough to beat against anybody.
I think if there's a guy who can do it, it's Aaron Rodgers.
I agree. Aaron Rodgers potentially with Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. I just wish the Packers would have gotten some more weapons on offense, though. I don't, but if they're going to play the Chiefs,
Yeah, but I just hope they meet Tennessee early because they're not going to have no answer for Derrick Henry.
I think the Titans win that game. I think the Titans win, and I think you guys win too.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
Packers got to lose at some point. But, well, good stuff, Dustin. It was great talking football. I can't wait for tomorrow night and the week 15 to get going. I had a lot of fun talking football with you.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yep. So we'll keep this coming. I can't wait for week 15. And have a great week, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. We're going to keep the interviews coming out, especially come playoff time. We're going to have some good player interviews for the playoffs. Appreciate the support. Have a great week, guys. Peace out.